TLC.
All right.
That's the song.
Tender Love and Care.
I wrote a song for WWE TLC, baby.
No scrubs.
What's up? I'm Big Dave. That's Big Johnny over there. What's up, Big Johnny?
Well, I thought that was a pretty good pay-per-view. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought that was a pretty good way to end the year. I enjoyed that a lot.
It was pretty good, you know, compared to most WWE shows. It was all right. It wasn't the worst episode of WWE I've ever seen. What were your thoughts on the pay-per-view? Give us a grade on 10. What do you give WWE TLC on 10? I'll run down the results for those that didn't catch the show. This is the Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report Network, WWE TLC post-show. We are here after every WWE pay-per-view. We're here after every AEW pay-per-view. We are here for every UFC pay-per-view for a watch-along. We are here every Thursday nights at 8 p.m. for Ringside Report MMA and every Friday night at 10 p.m. right after SmackDown for Wrestling Uncensored, the show that Johnny and I do every single week. Tonight at TLC, Randy Orton beat The Fiend in an Inferno match, which I'm sure we'll talk about, John. Quite a main event tonight. I don't know if it was really the main event that made me like this show. Roman Reigns defeating Kevin Owens in the TLC match. Those guys go 24 minutes, 45 seconds, a solid match that I felt was the main event, really. I don't know what that Randy Orton-Bray Wyatt thing was, about 12 minutes of lighting each other on fire. I think Bray's dead after it. Asuka and Charlotte Flair. Charlotte returned, and she was Asuka's mystery partner, and they defeat Nia Jax and Shayna to become the new WWE Tag Team Champions. The Hurt Business, Cedric and Shelton, beat the New Day to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions in a 10-minute match. Cedric getting the pinfall on Kofi there. Sasha Banks retaining her SmackDown title over Carmella, getting her to tap to the bank statement in 12 minutes. Drew McIntyre and AJ Styles opening up the pay-per-view. Drew retaining the WWE Championship over AJ Styles and The Miz, because the match turned into a triple threat when The Miz decided to cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase, which didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Big E, Daniel Bryan, Chad Gable, and Otis were on the pre-show, beating King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn, by the way. One of the best talkers, best wrestlers, best guys overall in the WWE, Sami Zayn. One of the hottest acts, in my opinion, going in World Wrestling Entertainment today in a throwaway pre-show match. Johnny North, what did you give this thing on 10? I see Lauren Cronish is in the chat. Matthew the Magician. Bob Cote. Matthew giving it an 8 on 10.
Generous.
Very generous. Very generous. Of course, I am Dave Simon. This is my brother, Ben Simon. We are the Simon Brothers.
That's right. I'm the dog-faced gremlin.
And I am Big Papa Pump, the Big Bad Booty Daddy. 100%. If we are, if we're a tag team and we're the Steiners, you're for sure Rick.
I'm usually the Janetti, kind of.
Yeah, you're the Janetti to my Sean.
I don't mind being the Christian.
You're like Jim Anvil and I'm Bret Hart.
Yeah.
You're like Tucky and I'm Otis. Oh, yeah.
I'm Chuck and you're Billy.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
But to be fair, Rick Steiner was apparently supposed to beat Ric Flair at Starrcade.
No, apparently that was not
Rick
true,
Steiner.
John. It's not true. That was never meant. That never happened. That wasn't true. I've heard people talk about that recently. I'm not sure who, but apparently it was never really in the cards.
Well, I don't know about that because it sounds like something Dusty would do just to get back at Rick.
No, that wasn't
'Cause
ever going to
people
happen,
say-
John. I disagree.
Because Dusty lost the book, that's why.
I think I heard JR talk about it recently. He was asked about it, and he's like, no, that was never going to happen. That was never in the cards. I think it was JR.
This for a championship?
It might have been Arn Anderson. It was somebody like that recently talking about exactly what you're talking about, and they were like, nope, that was just rumor. That was not true. That was some Meltzer bullshit. Not true, John.
So
I believe it, though.
All right. Let's talk about current day wrestling and not the 80s. Let's not talk about wrestling that happened before we were born, shall we? Let's talk about some current day professional wrestling.
It happened in the late 80s.
Did it? Well, I was still too
Yeah.
young to care, okay? I didn't watch NWA wrestling, okay? I watched WWF Superstars. That was my introduction to wrestling in the very late 80s, early 90s,
on CFCF12.
That's right. 1989, 1990. That's when I started watching wrestling. Probably 1990, really. Maybe 89, but I don't know. I was about 4-ish, and I saw Hulk Hogan, and my life was changed forever, brother. So I'm giving this pay-per-view on 10. I'm seeing Matthew Magician giving it an 8, Brian Firth giving it a 7. He calls it ROH Final Battle 2020. It's kind of funny. With Kevin Owens doing all those awesome ladder spots. That match was really good. I'm going to give this thing a 7 on 10. I thought TLC was pretty good. I'm giving it a 7. Was it as good as the last AEW pay-per-view? No. The last AEW pay-per-view, what's it called?
Well, Winter's Coming count?
No. The pay-per-view.
Full Gear.
Full Gear was really good.
Yeah, Full Gear was good.
That was a really good pay-per-view. Might have been pay-per-view of the year. But this was, for WWE, solid, better than Survivor Series, better than Hell in a Cell. Better than a lot of the stuff that they bring out, right? Like, as far as pay-per-views for the WWE in the winter, this was the best, and this was one of the best probably that they've delivered all year. This hasn't been a great year for WWE pay-per-views. I'm looking back. Clash of Champions was not very good. The Roman J. Uso match, and then Drew and Randy Payback was not very good. Like, even SummerSlam, going all the way back to SummerSlam, that was not very good either. So, this might have been the best WWE pay-per-view all year. It might have been.
And I didn't even really care for it that much.
I didn't think it was that great, but like, if you're looking back and trying to pick out what's the best show that they put out this year,
Like one of the Mania, night one of Mania.
yeah, maybe.
Kevin and Seth and the Boneyard.
I mean, you could maybe give night one of WrestleMania,
Rumble. There was an audience.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
I
Drew
like the
won.
Rumble. I think the Rumble was good.
Yeah.
But Edge came back.
Edge. And
What else happened though?
Brock for half the Rumble was pretty good.
He came in at number 1, yeah.
I think the Rumble was the best, again, because we had a crowd too, so that kind of helped as well.
Becky versus Asuka, Fiend and beat Daniel Bryan in a strap match. I don't have really any recollection of that. Bayley over Lacey Evans. I don't know. I don't remember the Rumble being that great. I guess the Rumble match was okay if you liked the Rumble match, but I didn't really love that Rumble match. I didn't love Drew winning either because I didn't think it would lead to a lot of great wrestling, and I think I was right.
Well, not tonight though.
Well,
Tonight he had a very good match.
well, okay.
Not to his credit, though.
Bob Cote gives it a 7.5. I'm giving it a 7.
I mean, I don't know, when you're writing down the card, I think, I wasn't as impressed with the matches as you were saying them, and there's a lot of decisions
Drew,
I didn't like.
Kevin, Roman.
Maybe a 6.
Yeah.
I was thinking 5, but maybe it's a 6.
All right.
I didn't like the Hurt Business beating the New Day. I don't think it's going to lead to anything. They're not going to do anything with it and then drop it back to the New Day probably.
They don't have a plan for Cedric Alexander being the heel in a heel group. It's like, what?
Yeah.
He's healing out on his already full of heel team. Like, why? What? And he was just a babyface, and now he's like a super heel. Like, what do you... What?
I wasn't a fan of that. Well, we could go down match by match about what I did and didn't like, but...
Yeah, I didn't love the main event. I'm seeing Antoinette.
I really didn't like
Antoinette on the chat, she gives it a 7 out of 10, like I did. She thought Randy and Fiend was the best match of the night. See, Antoinette, I thought your man Roman had the best match of the night. I thought Roman and Kevin's match was my match of the night. I want to know what you all thought match of the night. Johnny North on 10? And give me your match of the night, too.
Well, okay, first match of the night. This is a potential match of the year. I thought Kevin and Roman Reigns was. I don't know about you. Like, to me, like, was there a better match in WWE this year?
Well, that Edge and Randy thing was good. I think people are always going to go back to that. Not the Mania, but
that
the
was good too.
Payback or whatever.
The greatest
You're
wrestling
talking about
match
the
ever?
greatest wrestling match ever, right?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't the greatest wrestling match ever, but it was pretty good. I guess.
No, you're right about that. I mean, there's no question about it. Definitely.
Watching it the first time, I didn't love it, but going back and watching it again, it was solid. It was good. But it was maybe WWE match of the year, but as far as match of the year, I don't know if it's even top 5. As far as actual matches of the year. I think AEW killed it this year. AEW had such a good year, man.
Yeah, this is probably my last time on the air this year, so my match of the year probably Kenny and Hangman versus the Bucks is that Full Gear?
Was it Full Gear?
Or the one before?
No, it was the one before, wasn't it? Or is it Revolution? What was it? When was it, John?
It was Revolution. Revolution was Bucks against Omega
and Hangman.
Yeah, Revolution.
That was Revolution. Yeah.
Match of the year. You can't beat that. You're not beating that. There's nothing that was better than that. For me, I agree 100%. I think that was the best match of the year. And then you go from there, and then you just go down the list of the great AEW matches
Many
in 2020.
Kenny.
Yeah, a lot of them with Kenny
and Moxley that just happened.
Yeah, Kenny, Bucks, Hangman, a lot of good work in AEW this year. Right? Like, it's hard to argue that AEW hasn't had a better year than WWE. You look at the best matches, you look at the best characters, you look at the best stories over a 365-day span. AEW as a fully realized company, you're seeing what they're able to do. WWE with this ridiculous roster, like I talked about it, their opening match had Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Cesaro, Big E, who they seem to be going somewhere, but maybe Intercontinental title level with only. And then what do you do with Sami? Probably nothing. Like a guy like Sami Zayn doing the work that he's doing, the Sami Awards, all his work on Talking Smack, everything that he's doing right now, he should be promoted. They should do more with Sami because he's killing the game right now. And they're probably going to take the title off him and disappear him because that's how they operate. Because he's not meant to get over right now. It's just like, the guys that are meant to get over, and the other guys are just like they doing good work, but they'll never win.
It's like the Vince takes it personally, I don't get it because he didn't pick it.
Yeah,
it feels like it's like something against him.
Zack Ryder syndrome.
Yeah.
Don't get yourself over if you're not meant to be over, right?
Yeah.
It's too bad. Johnny?
Well, I thought Sami was great tonight. Like, I know he lost, but I think it helped set up the whole Big E thing because they're going to have a match this Friday, right? So,
yeah.
Which was a building block. Yeah, this was a building block for that. I mean, they didn't set up a match for the pay-per-view. The fact that they put it on the kickoff, it got people interested to watch for Friday, so I thought that was a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good idea to throw them on the show, but it's kind of like, hey, there's so much talent here. Why weren't they more prominently featured? There are guys that are not quite as talented that have big roles on the show. Like, Miz had a pretty big role tonight, you know? So, Big E, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
You know?
Although his new haircut.
He's still good, all right? He looks so handsome with his new haircut. Like, that guy's ridiculously talented, and, like, he might be the best wrestler in the world today. It's on the pre-show. He might be. I'm telling you. If you let Daniel Bryan do his thing, there's nothing I'd rather see right now than Bryan versus Kenny. I'd be like,
yeah, no.
Whoa. Like, it would just, like, it would be incredible.
Some way.
But, you know.
I mean, they probably wrestle in ROH, but
they have. They have. But it's not like who they are now. It'd be a different story today. It'd be cool, but, you know. So, Drew and AJ, I thought was really good. AJ doing all the work, though. Drew wins, obviously. Drew retained. Even when Miz cashed in, I didn't think Drew was going to not walk away still champion, which was a bit of a problem. Miz seemed like he was obviously going to lose. Also, Miz, why cash in when there's a match going on? Why not cash in when they're all beat up? Why not cash in? Like, why not cash in when somebody's at the top of a ladder after having just endured a ladder match? They're on top of a ladder because they just grabbed the belt. They're pretty vulnerable. Attack them then, throw them off a ladder, cash in, win the belt. Don't come in mid-match and be like, I'm cashing in. I want to be part of this match that's very challenging because AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre are in it, and you're the Miz. Like, it doesn't even make sense. You know what I mean? It's just like, if this was real, and this Miz was really thinking about this move, this particular tactic is very bad. It's poor. Like, he looks dumb in the process, you know? It doesn't do any favors for the Miz character. And meanwhile, we're just supposed to buy it. We're just supposed to be like, oh, yeah, well, Miz, you know, whatever. He cashed in because he's such a jerk. But it's like, no, he's actually just dumb, isn't he? He came off as dumb to me.
He's lost it now.
Well,
John's going to tell me why he's not dumb.
It's because if you saw the pre-show, he did a promo before saying that Drew McIntyre is really hard to pin, so he's got to really pick the right opportunity. So, like, that's why he did it. Like, he didn't have to pin Drew McIntyre to win the match. He could just go up the ladder to get the title. So that's why he did that. It was foreshadowing.
And I think Miz maybe cashed in on Randy the first time he cashed in like 10 years ago. He might have cashed in mid-match also on Randy or something. Because it was
after a match.
But then they had like a mini match. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it makes sense when Seth Rollins did it at WrestleMania with Brock and Roman because he walked away champion.
But he hit his finisher right away. He didn't waste any time.
But now at least Miz isn't going to be champion, so there's the good point of that, right? Bright
That's
side.
the best part.
He got Sandow.
Miz cashed in, and he didn't become champion, which just shows you the lack of foresight in WWE. They have a pay-per-view called Money in the Bank. The one of them that cashed in actually won the belt because Becky was pregnant, right? Asuka won the women's one, and they're like, yeah, it's not a title match. It's just the belt. And it's like they used it to announce Becky's exit. It was really weird. And the other Money in the Bank, they gave to Otis, decided they didn't want Otis to become the guy anymore because they lost faith in him along the way, and gave it to Miz for Miz to lose. Like, it's an opportunity to push somebody to do something, to elevate. It's a great tool, and they're just like, we don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, let's figure out a way not to use it so we don't have to change champions.
Yeah. It's just like,
it's lazy.
Couldn't you have come up with a plan maybe for Money in the Bank and then follow through? Like, if you're going to give it to Otis, have an idea of why and where you're going to go with it. Like, okay, Otis is going to win. Okay, when does he cash in? On who? And, does he win? That question should be asked.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they never ask that question when they do things. It's like, let's do this. What is it? Figure it out. Like, and I know that's how they operate because I watched the Undertaker's show on the Boneyard match, and they're like, let's do a Boneyard match. And then they announce it on TV, and then they're like, what's a Boneyard match? And they're like, I will figure it out, pal. And somehow it worked. But, like, most of the time, it doesn't. And it's just like, have the conversation of, like, well, what are we going to do with this guy? Like, let's give him this. Okay, what's the briefcase for a title shot? No one thinks, let's figure out what's going to happen at the end of this story. It's fucking baffling, man.
It's like having the Royal Rumble winner not announce like crazy. Who the rest of Mania passes by and like they're still there.
Yeah.
It's just like, what's the point of having the Royal Rumble winner?
It's just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. I want to thank our supporters in the chat because you guys keep me going. You guys keep me watching this crazy nonsense.
It's ridiculous.
I don't even understand half this stuff. Patrick C. Hamilton dropped in with a super chat. He says, just dropped in for a few minutes to see how angry you were, Dave, and to my surprise, you aren't. I'm not angry. You just have to laugh. It's so ridiculous at this point. I'm just laughing. I watched the pay-per-view with my brother and my son, and I had a nice night, so it's like, whatever. It is what it is. You can't help but laugh at this nonsense. Jason Pete is a member of the channel. We say what's up to Jason. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason.
Antoinette is a member of the channel as well. You can become a member and do what Antoinette did in the chat, dropping those cool Dave and Johnny emojis. Look at that. There's a Dave emoji. There's a Johnny emoji. There are also Fred and AJ emojis. You can drop emojis of the whole Ringside Report team if you become a member of the channel, which is super cool. So become a member, support us, and then you have extra things. And when I see you in the chat, I'll definitely read what you say, because I see your name, it's like in green, so you pop out more when you're a member, so it's easier for me. Like, there's a lot of chat, and I'm trying to keep, I'm trying to talk to him, I'm trying to do a show, so I don't always see all the chats. But when they're in green, like, for real, I'm not saying this to sell memberships, I actually do see them better because they pop out amongst the black names. The gray names, the green ones are like, oh, and they have the little Ringside Report logo. So I'm like, what's this? I see it. There, Antoinette dropping the AJ and Fred emoji. See, I see that. It, like, pops out to me. Yeah.
Technology.
I love it. Who do you think will win the Royal Rumble? Matthew the Magician asks.
Which one?
I'd say the men's. They're probably asking about the women's. I'd say.
Oh. Well, now that Charlotte's back,
maybe Charlotte. Has she won yet?
She won last year. This past year.
She won last year. But if you saw that match tonight, Charlotte could do anything. She counters every move and wins all the matches. She does everything. Mode. Charlotte. So.
Super Charlotte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's unbeatable.
Women's Rumble maybe is.
No, Becky's not coming back.
Not Becky.
She just gave birth.
Yeah. Ronda would be very cool.
Bayley. Bayley could.
It could be Shayna or Nia too.
Bayley hasn't won though, and wrestle Sasha.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Nice accolade.
Bayley is my pick. I'm stealing that pick. That's a good pick. That makes sense. It's Bayley.
Bayley is a good pick. Yeah.
Yeah, Bayley versus Sasha. Or maybe Bianca Belair. They seem to like her quite a bit. But I'd go with Bayley for women's. Men's, I don't know, Goldberg, Sheamus,
Bray.
No.
Oh, you're not on the Big E train yet. Wow.
No, I don't think Big E's going to do it. I think Big E's going to stay at Intercontinental title level.
Sheamus wasn't on the show tonight.
I don't think they're elevating Big E. Sheamus, I could see going up against Drew. Brock, I could see winning the Rumble, going up against Drew. Goldberg, I could see winning the Rumble, going up against Roman. I'd love to see Daniel Bryan win the Rumble, go up against Roman. That would be cool. I feel like Bryan and Roman... Bryan and Roman is going to happen at some point, maybe at the Rumble itself. But
exactly,
Bryan winning the Rumble, like, he hasn't won one, and he's one of the greatest superstars of all time. It would be nice to throw that on his list of accolades. Has AJ won one?
No.
I mean, AJ Styles is great, but he just lost a WWE title match tonight, so I'd like to see Daniel Bryan win, but, like, knowing WWE, Goldberg will win, you know? He'll come in at, like, number 30, fall down in the ring, and still win somehow.
He'll be bleeding.
He'll, like, throw himself over the top rope accidentally, but they'll still announce him the winner because it's just dumb.
Oh, no. Goldberg, only one of his feet touched the floor, folks.
He didn't get all of it, folks. Ugh.
But to be fair, Brock would be kind of cool if Brock came back and won.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping Brock would come back tonight and just beat people up. Just smash people. So, Drew and AJ, I feel like AJ did most of the work in that match.
Took some nasty bumps.
Drew took one powerbomb through the table off a ladder from Miz. AJ took a lot of nasty bumps in that match. AJ did everything he possibly could to make that match good.
You notice he was, like, bleeding from the side of his face at the end of the match? Like, his like, cheek was like, cut up.
Yeah. AJ was, like, going for it, you know? That was probably Drew's best match as WWE champion, and it's all because of AJ Styles. Like I tweeted to you earlier, John, I was like, for Drew McIntyre, it's probably his best match of 2020. For AJ Styles, it's like maybe not even top 5. Like, AJ Styles is so good that, like, that wasn't AJ's best match, but it was for sure Drew's best match because, you know, he got to wrestle AJ Styles.
Made his ass famous.
Yeah. He got to wrestle one of the best wrestlers in the game today. And AJ Styles got to wrestle Drew McIntyre.
He had to.
Yeah. AJ Styles had to do the favor. Yeah. Right?
Well, when I look at, like, opening pay-per-view matches, was there a better opening pay-per-view match we've seen this year? Like, that was pretty good.
I'm sure we've seen one.
For WWE openers, yeah, probably. I mean, has AJ Styles opened any other pay-per-views? Didn't Daniel Bryan open a pay-per-view and have a good match at some point?
It's very possible. AJ as well, but again, this was quite good. Like, I think this one's hard to beat for openers.
Okay.
Best. It's a narrow category.
Best pay-per-view opener of 2020. Johnny North gives his Johnny Award to Drew and AJ.
I'm a winner. I did it.
Gotta get little action figures, spray paint them gold, and then stick them to a tin can like Sami Zayn did.
Just get the award, though. They can have, like, long hair.
Yeah.
If it's a Johnny.
We should make Johnny Awards.
Like, nice and buff, long hair.
You could find several action figures that fit that description, I'm sure. Sasha Banks over Carmella, 12 minutes. Yeah. It's all right. Carmella was, all right.
I liked it. I thought it was a good match.
Yeah.
A lot of good back and forth.
Sasha's very good.
Except for the referee screwing up twice, but that's also on the wrestlers, too, making the ref look bad. But, like, whoever the producer was for that match should get fired, because that should not happen. Twice in one match is ridiculous.
Because of the sommelier?
I don't know.
The sommelier's interference?
Sommelier.
Whatever.
It's an E.
It doesn't matter what his name is.
It's not a name. It's a title
his name,
for a wine expert.
His name is Carmella's sommelier. Don't question it.
I want to.
That guy kept interfering and, like, grabbing Sasha Banks
to keep his hands to himself.
Yeah, stop touching Sasha Banks. What are you, Sammy Guevara?
Ooh,
sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of rough there. Like, that's
he said
bad.
horrible things about Sasha Banks.
He did.
He said horrible things about Sasha Banks.
And he apologized, you know?
Yeah,
like,
well,
you gotta let that stuff go.
No. I'm saying, ooh, it's a reminder of that. Not like, oh, don't besmirch Sammy Guevara. He could be besmirched.
Yeah, I'm besmirching Sammy Guevara. I'm just taking a shot because he said some dumb shit.
Be besmirched. That's war games.
Taking a shot ski, all right, John? Deal with it. Like your favorite Batista used to say.
It'd be cool if he came back and won the Rumble. That'd be awesome. It won't happen.
Fuck you, John. You motherfucker. Oh, shit.
Rather they give it back to Triple H.
Cedric and Shelton beat New Day, Kofi and Woods, to become the new Raw Tag Team Champions. You figured it was going to happen at some point because they just kept wrestling them. But
don't want it to happen.
like, I don't really like seeing New Day lose, because then what happens to Kofi and Woods now? They're not Raw Tag Team Champions, and
Will be again.
like, just keep them the champions. They're obviously the best tag team in the whole company. So having them lose is kind of like, yeah, really? Like, even when they lost to the Street Profits at Survivor Series, I was like, yeah, really? Like, I get you're trying to push the other guys and you're trying to make other teams, but at the same time, these other teams are so far beneath New Day. It's kind of like they're A-ball teams, and you want them to come up to the majors and beat the Yankees. It's like, why don't you work your way up to AA and AAA, beat some of these AA and AAA teams before you go to the major leagues and beat the New Day? You know, it doesn't make sense for these guys to, like, well, they're kind of shitty tag teams, but then they wrestle New Day and they beat them, so they're, like, made. It's like, well, no, you're not made off one win over the top tag team, and it makes your top tag team look kind of dumb.
Yeah, it cheapens the New Day.
It
If
does.
they lose the Street... Like, what? They lose to Retribution now?
Like, Street Profits, who have they really beat? Like, they've been champion for a long time, but who have they really beat? What have they actually done?
They beat, I don't know.
Ziggler and Rude? Anybody else, John? Anybody else?
Pretty much every team, when you think about it. Street Profits beat everybody this year.
Who?
Viking Raiders, like how many times over?
Viking Raiders in bowling. They didn't wrestle those guys. They threw.
No, they did wrestle them.
Yeah,
They did everything.
One time, but there was
that
ninjas.
Gator match?
There was a gator that ate them. The
That
match
wasn't a
didn't even have
match. That wasn't a
finish.
real match, John.
They didn't really.
It doesn't
beat
count.
anybody.
No,
it
no
doesn't count.
finish.
That's right.
They had an
They got
actual
eaten by a
wrestling match
gator.
on Raw.
Huh?
But on Raw they had on Raw they had an actual wrestling match,
Well,
and Street Profits won.
they shouldn't have,
Look it up.
John. They shouldn't.
Okay,
have.
so they had one match where they beat the Viking Raiders one time. Meanwhile, Ivar's hurt, and Eric's been turned into one of the guys who can't even beat R-Truth. Like, that's what happened to the Viking Raiders. And believe me, I love the Viking Raiders. I have Viking Raiders Christmas ornaments on my tree right now, and that's a shoot.
That is a fact.
That's right. Little gingerbread Viking Raiders. I'll send you a picture, John.
There's a Vader, too.
I got a little gingerbread Vader. I got a gingerbread Roman Reigns.
Hollywood Hogan.
I got gingerbread Hollywood Hogan. I got gingerbread Usos. I got gingerbread Broken Matt Hardy. I've got a Rey Mysterio mask. I've got a little Money in the Bank briefcase ornament. My Christmas tree is decked out pro wrestling style. It's very cool.
Oh, John, I got to ask you a question.
What's
During
up?
the Owens-Roman match, whenever Jay Uso came in, didn't it sound like, I think it was Corey Graves was calling him Jay Russo? I'm like, oh, Russo!
What?
I heard Russo.
I didn't hear that.
It made me think
Yeah.
like Vince Russo was like interfering.
Jay Russo.
A lot of the commentary seemed like it was off. Like I noticed Michael Cole would get the moves wrong. Like he would just even pronounce words just wrong. Period. Like the commentary was really bad throughout that whole match. Like that was a great match, but you have to almost mute it because the commentary like brings it down.
Russo.
Like Michael Cole and Corey Graves are really atrocious.
Corey Graves
Like
sucks.
they actually ruined the show.
Yeah, they're very bad. Their commentary is actively bad. I do not like them. It's another thing AEW does so much better than WWE. And I'm seeing Jason Pete. He's like, I haven't watched Raw or SmackDown in like 2 years. I don't believe in WWE anymore. I don't believe in WWE anymore. And that says it all. I switched to New Japan, AAA, and CMLL. He lives in Mexico, so I'm sure it's more, accessible than it is here, AAA and CMLL. And he says the products have been consistent. And, I like AEW. And Jason also asking, is tag team wrestling dead? That's a question. It's not very healthy in WWE, but in AEW, it's very much alive.
A lot of great teams.
A lot of the great things that I love about professional wrestling, AEW seems to focus on.
There's a lot of great teams.
It's a great show, man. It's really fun.
But there's
I like
one
Dynamite.
thing. There's one thing though, like you're kind of putting down like Shelton Benjamin, like he was a tag team champion way before the New Day were even in WWE.
Probably the world's
I
greatest
think it's-
tag team.
Yeah, it's great that he's a tag team champion again. It's been years, like I think almost close to 2 decades. So I think that's great that he won tonight.
I feel like he had a strange Bedfellows tag team championship run with somebody. Didn't he have one with Chad Gable?
Didn't he have one? Yeah, didn't he? Did him and Gable win?
I don't know if they won though. Did they win though?
But I thought Gable.
Maybe not.
But either way, it's not like Shelton Benjamin's a young up and comer.
No, I mean he's just I get what you're saying, John. Shelton, he's been around, he's been out of the WWE for a while, and now he's like a tag team champion. It is kind of cool. I do get that.
Yeah,
he's been around for a long time. He's a veteran. He got something for a while there. Shelton was in the WWE, and he was like nowhere. Like for a long time before Hurt Business, Shelton was nowhere. Like before he got picked up by the Hurt Business, he was not even on TV. They didn't use him. He was in the company, but he was like main event maybe. Like on main events, not the main events, the show main event.
I think he like came back, had one match, and like blew out his knee, and then he was out for like 6. Then he came back was like on main event and stuff.
That's
like that.
it. Like they weren't doing anything with Shelton, and it is kind of nice to see him get a bit of a tag team title run. The problem is, I just don't care. It's just there's something about the Hurt Business as a group. I like them all individually. I think they're all good. But put together, they just, I don't understand what they are as a group. They've not been a clear-cut heel, babyface.
Or what's their business?
Anything. I don't get it. They like to hurt people, and they also wear suits. Hurt Business. It's like beer money, except a different gimmick. It's, very strange.
Skin deep. There's nothing to it.
And then for a while there, they were trying to, bring new people into the group, and then they brought Shelton, they brought Cedric eventually. They were trying to bring Ricochet into the group, and then it got really muddied when Retribution came out, and then Retribution was like a heel group that was going up against Hurt Business, and Hurt Business was defending the honor of Monday Night Raw for some reason. It was super weird. And since then, Hurt Business has not been obvious. I don't really know what they are. And they have all these things going on, and Bobby Lashley's feuding with Sami Zayn last month, and they're both heels. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hurt Business has been this weird, are they baby faces? Are they not baby faces? And then they feud with New Day. Lashley goes from in a thing with Sammy to being backup for Cedric and Shelton with New Day and and doing matches with New Day and Jeff Hardy on Raw. It doesn't make a lot of sense. And then you have Cedric who was a babyface with Ricochet and Apollo. They were all friends. And then he got beat up so many times by Hurt Business. That's another thing that made no sense. Cedric got beat up so many times by Hurt Business, he decided to join Hurt Business and become very much down with the program immediately. He was like, I'm going to take such a beating from you guys week after week, and eventually I'm just going to love you and love everything you guys are about, and I'm going to wear the suits too. It was a very strange turn. They didn't really take a lot of time to be like, well, Cedric, this is why, and he took a beating, but he decided to join them, but he's not really sure if he wants to be with them. It wasn't like to me, if guys are beating your ass for a month straight and then you join their group, for a couple weeks you should be like, I don't know if I'm really with you guys. When Colt Cabana joined the Dark Order, it was is Colt really with them? And for a couple weeks, it was I don't know if he's really with them. And over time, I was oh yeah, he's just with them now. Mm-hmm. There was a progression of the character. It was subtle. They didn't need to spend tons of time on it. But at least over time, it made some sense. Mm-hmm. The Cedric thing has been really just okay, he's a babyface. Now he's a full heel, and you're supposed to hate him.
Yeah.
Not only are you supposed to feel bad for him last week, but now to these turns, you're supposed to hate him because he's doing bad shit just like the rest of these guys. So it's okay. And now Cedric is tagging himself in, and he's trying to steal the glory every time.
Shelton gave him a look.
And he's trying to show that he's better than Shelton, and he's this super guy in Hurt Business, and he's very important. And it's okay, so now he's a super heel on this already heel group. It just muddies the waters even further, just confuses things even more with what the fuck they are and where the fuck they're going. And that's why, as much as I like them all and I think they're all talented, and yeah, Shelton, sure, I get it, John, but like the Hurt Business group fucking sucks because the booking of the group has been horrible. If you pay attention to this shit, it's like, fuck, man. They really and again, let's make a group. Okay, who do we put in it? I don't know, MVP and Bobby Lashley. Who else? We'll figure it out, pal. How about Shelton? We're not doing any. Okay. He fits the mold, right, pal? Let's get Cedric, too. Okay? And what are we going to do? Have him feud with Retribution. There's four, or yeah. They're both heels. Whatever, doesn't matter.
Wear suits.
Like, it's just like it. There's no goddamn direction, and it feels like nobody's ever asking the question. And I know that's not true. I know there are writers, and there are people, and there are certain people that work for WWE that realize this doesn't make sense, but there's nothing they can do about it because they can't plan long term because Vince McMahon changes his mind on a dime. Like, that's what you always hear about Vince. It's like, well, they had his whole plan for Raw, but Vince rewrote the show 3 hours before because he didn't like anything. And now we have a new main event for WrestleMania. And now Roman's like doing this. And now we're going here. And we're switching this guy to Raw. And it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, they can't even, if they're asked to make a good story and plan long term, they're not even given the right to follow through because Vince is constantly changing his mind. He can't figure, and you know, that's a lack of confidence in his people, obviously. But also, like, a lack of vision as well. Like, Vince, if he's in charge and he wants to be changing his mind all the time, how about you come up with a few things that are like, this is set in stone. Set some things in stone. So that at least when we're watching this, we could be like, well, this A, B, C led to D. And it made sense along the way. And we could follow it. We could appreciate at least what you're trying to do. It might not be perfect all the time. Roman might win in the end every time, but at least get me there where it's like, okay, at least it made sense, you know?
Mm-hmm. There's
and
production value.
Don't give me Goldberg. Don't give me Goldberg. You know?
I agree with you, though. You're right. The booking of the Hurt Business has been great. It's been awful.
No, go ahead, John.
No, go ahead, because like I was just gonna say, like, you have every reason to not be interested in them because if the booking doesn't make sense, why care?
And it feels like it would just be so easy, like with their name and everything, for them to be like a guns for hire, kind of like an APA kind of group. You know, other wrestlers hire them to beat up guys. They're a Hurt Business. Like, it's in the name. They could just be like, yeah, hire us, and we'll beat up somebody you're, you know, annoyed with. You know, they beat up Braun Strowman or something. Like, oh, look, the Hurt Business took out Braun Strowman. Oh, my God. Don't mess with these guys. You know, if you hire them, you know, you have the odds in your favor.
Yeah.
All right.
That would be a gimmick for the Hurt Business.
You know, it's in the name.
Something.
Everyone loved the APA.
I don't know. I don't know what the Hurt Business gimmick is. I mean, I liked the best incarnation of the Hurt Business was when it was MVP, Shelton, and Bobby going to Raw Underground and being like, look, we have Shelton, we have Bobby, MVP's got some shoot. I think he might be a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, MVP. Like,
he's got some experience.
He's definitely he knows what he's doing. Like, he can fight for real. And you know Bobby's
got
boxing
actually.
I don't know. MVP's definitely MVP can go. He was in prison too. Like, MVP's no joke, you know. Yeah. Shelton, of course, he's got, you know, a great wrestling pedigree.
University of Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Correct. And of course, Bobby Lashley had a, you know, pretty solid MMA career. So I like that. I like those guys. Like, they're shooters. You know, they're the Hurt Business. Yeah. We make our money beating people up. We use our hands to beat you up, and that's how we pay the bills. Like, we're the Hurt Business. I got that, but it's kind of gone away from that because they're not as intimidating. Bobby still got that intimidation, but Shelton, it's like not quite there. And then Cedric is like, you know, he doesn't fit with that group because he's not that type of wrestler. So Doesn't really work for me. And now they're the new Raw Tag Team Champions. We'll see how that goes. I don't think it's going to go that well.
Give it 6 weeks.
I think they'll probably give it a little longer than that, but yeah.
It's mainly because like they're feuding with Riddle and Jeff Hardy, right? And they want them to team, so they're feuding with Hurt Business, tag champs, so that's your match right there.
I would have much preferred Riddle versus Bobby one-on-one on this pay-per-view. Why didn't we get that for the U.S. title?
6 matches. We had enough matches. I mean, the TLC matches were like, 35 minutes each?
When do we get that? On Raw? I guess we'll get it on Raw. Maybe at the Rumble? Because that, to me, is a big match. That's like a match you can sell. That's something you can build. Bobby Lashley, Matt Riddle, one-on-one, first time ever. Bellator versus UFC. You know, like, it's cool. There's something there. They both know how to fight. Let's see that wrestling match.
Bobby fights barefoot in that match.
No, I don't think so. Riddle's the only barefoot man in WWE. But, I mean, maybe. They do one of those...
and tapes up his feet.
You know, like the Thatcher-Riddle match there. What do they call that thing with the cage? Like the MMA-style match? They could do one of those with Bobby at a pay-per-view. Like, that's the kind of shit they should be doing. That's the kind of shit I'd be excited about. What did that match... That match was badass, right? The Thatcher-Riddle match, it was in like a cage in NXT. What was that? Remember what they called it?
I don't know.
It's a Lion's Den?
Some sort of pit match or something.
Yeah. That was cool. How come we don't see that for the U.S. title with Bobby Lashley? Like, no?
Well, if you remember that match, though, Thatcher got, like, seriously injured, though, in that match. Because, like, I think Riddle, like, kicked him and, like, I think... I don't know if he broke his jaw, but like knocked out a tooth or something. So, like, it was just kind of violent.
It's not ballet, pal. How about some violence? This pay-per-view was not violent enough. I've seen a lot of WWE TLC pay-per-views. I'd reckon I've seen all of them.
There have been some violent ones.
This one was one of the least violent. Like, it was violent. A man was lit on fire and murdered at the end of it, so that was pretty violent.
The dummy was. There were no hands there.
Shut up. Bray Wyatt is dead, okay? I don't want to hear it. Rest in peace.
He would have writhed.
Rest.
He would have screamed or something.
In peace. Bray Wyatt. You face the Reaper.
So are we jumping to the Inferno match now, or?
Nah, I don't know. What the hell was I talking about?
This wasn't that violent a pay-per-view.
Wasn't that violent?
Yeah, there was some violent.
Asuka and Charlotte.
Matches.
Let's go to Asuka and Charlotte beating Nia and Shayna. They are the new tag team champions. Asuka now. Asuka 2 belts. She's the Raw champion. And she's tag team champion. Asuka 2 belts once again, which is a trend in women's wrestling this year. I was going through it, and Sasha 2 belts, Bayley 2 belts, Becky 2 belts, Asuka 2 belts. 4 of them in one calendar year have been double champion. 4 women. 4. It's quite impressive. A bit. And, like, I could see Charlotte at some point doing it too, because everybody's done it, right? Asuka, Bayley, Becky, Sasha. Who's missing?
On the Mount
Who
Rushmore.
hasn't had 2 belts? And Johnny, you were talking about Super Charlotte, how she was just beating Nia, beating Shayna. Shayna and Nia could do nothing to Charlotte Flair. It was Super Charlotte tonight.
Seriously.
Like Hulk Hogan in his prime, just like, no way, brother. Charlotte Flair, brother. Go down for the leg drop. You know? I'm not feeling that, brother.
I could tell.
You
Counter every move.
Yeah. Charlotte Flair, Hulk Hogan style tonight. Her dad was watching that in Gorilla like, my God, she's wrestling like Terry. It's amazing.
Did it not look like Flair was like yawning at the end? Because that's what it looked like to me, that he was like, when he had his mouth open, when they went back to him, I thought he was like, yawning.
He was aghast. He couldn't believe how amazing his daughter was. He was like, oh my God, it's like John Cena in his prime. It's like Hulk Hogan. It's like Steve Austin. It's Charlotte Flair. They're doing it. They're going to push her to the moon.
Oh, they already have.
No, they're going to do more. She's going to main event WrestleMania again. She's going to win the Rumble again. She's going to win the Raw title. She's going to win the SmackDown title. She's going to beat Becky.
She'll beat Roman.
Shayna, Roman, Nia, Rock, Hogan, Austin. Jericho, Kenny Omega, she's beating everybody.
Charlotte, Kenny Omega would be an interesting match.
Charlotte, Kenny Omega would be amazing. It would be so good. You know that it would be match of the year. If they did it tomorrow, match of the year. Without a doubt. That shit would be fire. I love Charlotte Flair. I think it was cool to see her back. And as soon as she came back, I said, oh, she's back. She's going to win the belts. They didn't bring Charlotte back to lose. And people online were like, oh, they're going to have Charlotte turn on Asuka. They're not going to. I was like, nah, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure Charlotte's here to win. You know, I didn't really think.
I had an inkling of doubt that she was going to like jump off the apron and like set up a singles feud.
I'll tell you why. Charlotte Flair is one of their top superstars. She's been gone for months. You don't bring back a top star after months to lose. When Triple H came back after he tore his quad, did he come back and lose?
Yeah, but is it losing though, Charlotte? Like if she chooses not to help, it's
no.
not.
When Roman Reigns had leukemia and he left and he came back, did he lose? When he decided to leave and not go to WrestleMania and he left because of COVID and then he came back because COVID's gone, I guess. I don't know why he came back. Did he come back and lose? No. Okay? When Austin broke his neck and he came back, did he lose? Charlotte's been gone for months. She's not going to come back and lose.
She'll turn on her tomorrow.
It's Charlotte Flair. Did you see how strong she was in that match? You got to stop thinking of her as like a wrestler. She's like a higher level wrestler. She is an entity for the WWE. She's an attraction. She's going to be around forever. She's a legend. She's a future Hall of Famer. And she's in her prime still. She probably hasn't even reached peak Charlotte Flair level, really. The peak of Charlotte, I think we haven't even seen yet. So I see Charlotte come back. Like, the amount of shit that they've given her, the amount of championships and accolades, it's like, yo, when Charlotte comes back, it's to win. Like, she's a champion over the rest. She is their top women's star. She's the leader of the women's evolution. Like, she's the one. You know what I mean? Like, she's
on that.
She's John
God
Cena.
tier.
Yeah, she's God tier. She's
Right.
Undertaker level. She's like, you know, it's a different thing with Charlotte.
It's like the Beatles.
Bigger, baby.
My question is though, what was that tweet that you wrote about saying that though? Does she look different? Like, what was that about?
I don't know. Facially, she looked different. It might have been the makeup. I thought she looked different in the face. Her nose looks slightly different to me, but a lot of the times, if you don't see somebody for a while and they come back wearing slightly different style makeup, you know, they change the look. It's hard to tell what's going on there. I just thought she looked different, and I put it out there. I was like, she looks different to me. She looked different to anybody else. A couple people retweeted it, but I was really looking for people to be like, yeah, this is what looks different. You know, I don't really know these things. I had my girlfriend come into the room. I was like, can you come and look at Charlotte so you could tell me if it's makeup or like a nose job or something? Because I can't tell. I don't put makeup on my face. I'm a guy that doesn't do that, so I don't really know. She looked different, but, you know, I don't know if... I'm not saying she got any kind of work done. She just looked a little different to me. Maybe she lost a little weight or something in her face. You know, it looks a little different. I don't know. She just looks slightly different than the last time I'd seen her. She didn't look different to you?
I find she always looks different. I don't know about you, like just the way she puts her hair.
Always look different.
Or her hairstyle's different. Her makeup's always different too. I don't know if you noticed, like her eyes
we're
are
wondering,
always
John.
different.
We're not experts on this, so we're just wondering.
Sorry, John.
It's fine if she had like cosmetic surgery. It's nothing.
Well, I'm not saying she did. I'm not saying she didn't. I just can't tell. I was wondering maybe she did, because you know, you take a long time away from the wrestling business. You know, you might take the opportunity to get a little work done on your face, man or woman.
Yeah, it's long recovery time sometimes from those procedures.
That's right. You know, guys get tattoos sometimes. You come back and you're like, you're gone, you get a knee injury or something, and then you get a whole sleeve tattoo, and I'm like, is something different about that guy? He looks different. It's like, oh yeah, he's got a bunch of tattoos. Oh yeah.
Or a guy getting his face worked
Or
on.
a guy, Vince looked little.
Vince got Botox or something.
Yeah, Vince got something done.
Vince has a smooth forehead.
He looks great. Charlotte looked great too. Charlotte looked fantastic tonight, like a goddamn champion, just like she always looks.
Yeah, she did look good.
She always looks good. She always looks like a champion. She is, every single time out there. You never see Charlotte and you think, eh. Every time you see her, it's like, that's a star. Gotta love Charlotte Flair. Like, her dad looked like a star, but I feel like she more so. There's something like Flair in his prime.
She's more athletic.
She is more athletic.
Yeah. She's tall.
She is. She's fantastic. Long live the Queen. God save the Queen. Right? Charlotte Flair. Roman Reigns over Kevin Owens here, Johnny North, as we get to get through this pay-per-view. I thought Kevin did great. Roman did really well too. Roman went through some things. Roman took some beatings, but Kevin Owens, like, by God, he got crashed on ladders. He got put through like a million tables. It was
some chairs too.
It was quite a vicious beating that Kevin Owens took tonight. But one hell of a match of the night. All three of us agreeing it was match of the night. One of the best matches of the year for the WWE for sure. Kevin Owens, he's a superstar. I just wish we'd see him in more main events like this.
Well, I think this really goes to show you how good it was, because you complained before that, oh, it's too predictable, who's going to win, like it takes away the interest from this match, but it was still great. And it's still one of the better matches despite that. So that shows you how good they were in this match, because they fought through that.
Yes. And there were even moments when I thought, maybe? But I was like, wait, where's Jey Uso?
There was
wait
one.
a second.
That powerbomb on the table.
What's that, John?
There was one, I think, before when Jey Uso,
The pop-up powerbomb. Pop-up powerbomb. Kevin hits the powerbomb. Boom. Roman goes through the table, rolls out of the ring. He just took a finisher and rolled out of the ring. And I'm like, oh, shit. And Kevin starts climbing the ladder. I'm like, wait a second. Where's Jey Uso? And then Jey Uso's there. I'm like, you motherfucker,
Jey Uso.
Jey Uso. And then Kevin hits a stunner on Jey Uso. And I'm like, well, here comes Roman. And then Roman. And,
Yeah.
It was too much. It was too much for Kevin, but he looked, he looked strong in the process. It took Roman Reigns and Jey Uso to take him down. But in the end, Roman reigns supreme. But I thought the match was very good, and I thought Roman worked hard. I thought Roman had a much better showing in his TLC than Drew. I thought Drew and AJ, it was very one-sided, and it was clear that AJ was doing way more than Drew, and I was disappointed in Drew's output. I didn't feel that way with Roman. I thought Roman, obviously Kevin carried that match and did the majority of the big bumps, and he took more shit than Roman did, but Roman took some shit. He wasn't as much of a pussy as Drew was tonight. Like, Drew took fucking nothing.
Yeah, seriously.
Drew, you can't take it. You can't be WWE champion for a year, have a TLC match in December against AJ Styles, and put up that kind of performance. The only reason that match was passable was because AJ Styles was in it.
Yeah, if that was a Randy match, it would have been boring as shit.
Like fucking Drew McIntyre. He should be disappointed with himself tonight. He did not show up. You got to do more in a TLC match as WWE champion at this point in your career. You're 35 or something. He's not an old man. I'm sure he's beat up, but you're WWE champion. It's TLC. You're not on the road. You don't work house shows. You just work TV. And this is the kind of performance you put out as WWE champion for a fucking year. Shame on you, Drew McIntyre. That's why you're just the secondary champion in the WWE, and Roman Reigns is the guy, because Roman gets it. Because he went out there and he busted his ass. Thank you, Roman.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you that Roman had a better effort, no question about it, but he also has more experience. He's been in these kind of matches before, so...
Yeah.
Like, that kind of gives him a huge edge over Drew McIntyre.
McIntyre
knows how to take
ladder
these
matches. He's been in Money in the Bank matches with McIntyre.
How about this? Drew's like, okay, AJ, how about this? We're going to set up a ladder. It's going to be leaning against the ropes, and it's going to be leaning against another ladder. And then I'm going to climb up the side of the ladder. You're going to climb up the other side. You're going to punch me, and I'm going to fall off the ladder, and then Miz is going to hit you, or somebody's going to stop you from, reaching the top. And then Drew sets a spot up for himself where he falls off a ladder onto another ladder, and then I'm satisfied. I'm more satisfied with his performance. Sorry, John. I'm not a wrestler, even. I've never been in a ladder match, and I just came up with a spot that could make the match way better. I don't accept Drew never being in one of these matches as a reason as to why his performance was mediocre. No.
And he has been in these matches.
Fucking do something. He took one table bump.
I'm sure he did ladder matches on the Indies.
He wrestled in Impact. He didn't do anything there.
Lockdown. You know.
Drew sucks. Roman was much better tonight.
This kind of style of match, I don't think he has much experience in compared to Roman. Roman, one of his first matches we saw him in was a TLC match, so he's kind of been thrown in these matches from the get-go.
Roman is also a good bumper, too. He's a lot tougher than Drew McIntyre. You know? There's a toughness about Roman Reigns. He's tough. He can bump. Yeah. He's no Kevin Owens, but he's definitely tough.
He tries.
Kevin Owens killed it tonight. Wrestler of the night. He's the MVP of WWE TLC, right? Him and Charlotte, I'd say. Those are the MVPs of the show. Oh, and also Bray Wyatt, who died for the company. Like, Bray Wyatt died for the wrestling business tonight. Rest in peace. Randy Orton and The Fiend. It was a Firefly Inferno match. There was fire, not on the apron like a traditional Inferno match. It was like on the barricades. And every time somebody took a bump, the fire would shoot up for some reason. Which made sense, I guess, when the fire was like on the apron back in the day for the original Inferno matches. But it didn't really make sense. Like, you get body slammed in the ring, and the fire that's like 10, 15 feet outside the ring, in the crowd, basically, the crowd, like that fire shoots up. It was like, what? Yeah. You know what I mean? It was just dumb.
It looked very choreographed. It looked like a theme park stunt show or something.
Yeah, it was a silly match, and then they spent a lot of it trying to light each other on fire. And then there was one part where there was a rocking chair, of course, and Bray Wyatt, he like poured gasoline on the rocking chair, and then he lit a trail of gasoline, and then he sat Randy down on the rocking chair, and he lit the gasoline like a trail of gas. And there was an obvious cut. Like, this was obviously a stage stunt that they had done, I guess, earlier. And then Randy, like, jumped away and was fine. He didn't get lit on fire. Eventually, the Fiend did get lit on fire, which I told you was going to happen, John. You said Randy was going to lose. But I told you Fiend was going to lose this match because he's always wearing clothes. But then when I saw Randy show up in the hoodie and pants, I was like, well, that's stuff for Randy to be lit on fire with. Uh-oh. Maybe I was wrong, but no, the Fiend, who had that big jacket and the big pants, he was lit on fire. He didn't sell being lit on fire. He ran into the ring to take an RKO. There was no ref. There was no bell. It wasn't clear that the match was over at that point, but I guess they had said at some point, like, if you're on fire, you lose. So the Fiend had lost because he'd been on fire. For some reason, the RKO put the fire out. Yeah. You notice that?
Yeah.
Like, the guy's on fire. He gets hit with an RKO. When he's down in the ring, he's still on fire. You cut to Randy's face. And then you cut back to the Fiend, and the fire's been put out mysteriously.
It might have been a stunt. It could have been somebody else, like dressed as Bray. It could have been a stunt.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know.
It's a good point.
And then Randy decides to empty the gasoline on Bray Wyatt, on the Fiend. Well, at first he kind of looks at him and kicks him, and he's like, did I kill him? And then he's like, it looks like he feels bad for killing him. And then he's like, no, I'm actually going to kill him because I'm really evil. And he decides to pour gasoline on him and light him on fire. And then the pay-per-view ends with Randy standing outside the ring. There's like fire everywhere outside the ring. and he's standing doing his pose, and in the ring there is the corpse of the Fiend crisping up, just burning, and that's it. Yeah. That's how the show ended. Like, the rest of the show was pretty good. The last match, like, I know some people liked it, but I know a lot of people hated it. I did not like it.
Did they ever say during the match, "Don't try this at home"?
I mean, I think it's understood at this point. Like, don't light your friends on fire.
Pour gasoline on them.
Yeah.
They got, Carmella's breaking bottles on people. People are getting lit on fire. What's happening? Where are our moral standards?
Rest in peace, the Fiend.
Well, this is what people wanted, no? They wanted edgier television. They wanted to bring back, like, the Attitude Era. Like, this is what we had in the Attitude Era. We had Inferno matches every so often, so...
Only once.
We need
Kane's
this.
arm was on fire in the Inferno match. Kane's arm lit on fire. He was like, ah. There were some guys with fire extinguishers. They extinguished him, and that was it. I don't remember in the Attitude Era any wrestler burning to a crisp.
Even JR was set on fire in, like, the mid-2000s.
His face.
Yeah, or like his back or something. Kane, unmasked Kane, like, in an interview thing, but, like, that was staged. But, like, even then, it was fine.
You didn't see his body burning up. Like, he was lit on fire, and you understood that he'd been burned. But at no point did you ever think JR's dead.
No.
But here, well, I mean, there's no possible way for a human to survive what happened to the Fiend tonight. So I think as the audience were to understand that he is dead and he will be reborn in some kind of way, or that's the Fiend, you just can't kill him and he'll just come back as the Fiend in like a couple weeks. Imagine he comes back tomorrow night as the Fiend and is like, yeah.
I thought he was going to spring up back on the stage, like there's going to be a camera trick, and then he'd be like, back, like, your fire doesn't affect me. And Randy'd be like, oh.
Maybe he'll come back as Bray Wyatt on the Firefly Funhouse tomorrow and be like, yeah, the Fiend's mad, but he'll be back, Randy.
Husky
like
Harris.
I wonder what they do with this as far as, do they sell it and act like he's gone and bring him back as the Fiend? Do they sell it, act like he's gone, bring him back as a repackaged something else? Or do they not even sell it and then just keep going with this Fiend Randy stuff? What do you think?
I'm kind of like just thinking about this question I have for you right now, so I'm going to avoid that and ask you this question.
What?
Because, like, I'm just thinking, like, you're watching this match. How do you explain to your 3-year-old son who's watching this, like, this guy just got lit on fire, like... How do you explain that to him? Like,
he went to bed. It was bedtime.
Oh, he didn't see it. Thank goodness. Cause,
he didn't see the main event. I think we made an agreement that he would go to bed after the Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match.
And he agreed. Stuck to his end of the deal.
Yeah, he stuck to his bargains. He's a good man.
Mm-hmm. That's good, because like that would have been rough if he saw that, because that's something you shouldn't see. And I mean, that's something too about WWE. Like,
I don't know.
That's rough.
It's so ridiculous. It's so over the top. Like, I don't think it would really faze him, because he knows, like, it's so corny and it's so obviously fake that even a 3-year-old is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like he knows.
He gets it.
I mean, maybe not most 3-year-olds won't get it, but like he knows Bray Wyatt's like a joke. Like he doesn't.
Yeah.
Like
he's not scared of the Fiend in any way.
And he's kind of creepy. Like,
but he is scared.
If I were 3, I would be scared of him.
Scared of Abaddon, like for a shoot, like tears, like afraid of Abaddon. Does not want to see Abaddon. The AEW Demon Woman. He saw her and was like, I don't want to watch Dynamite anymore. He wanted to stop watching Dynamite immediately. And we watched Dynamite this week, some of it, and I had to, like, promise him that Abaddon was not going to be on the show. And I was like, look, Abaddon won't be on the show. They're pushing her now because she's, like, trying to wrestle the champion, but I've seen the lineup for this Dynamite, and Abaddon's lucky if she gets a dark match this week. So don't worry. Abaddon's not one of the main talents. Don't worry about Abaddon. But he is not scared of the Fiend. Fiend is not that scary, but I could definitely see being scared of Abaddon. She is frightening. Like, WWE tries to be scary, and it's like, AEW has this, like, demon woman, and you're like, what is going on? Have you seen Abaddon? Have you not seen Abaddon? Jesus.
I feel like I have.
She is scary looking.
Like a mask?
No.
I feel she could be even scarier. Like, I don't feel they try hard enough.
Look at that.
Like, she has a good look.
Yeah. And look at like Rosemary kind of had that kind of sort of look.
But like the eye, like one of her eyes looks like it's like.
Is that her actual eye or like a...
bitten out? I don't know.
I imagine
when you see her without the makeup, you're like, ooh.
That's true. It's like it's like some like zombie kind of makeup.
Yeah, but she looks evil.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
And the red coming out of the mouth.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she looks fucking scary, Abaddon.
Yeah, like
Fiend,
Papa Shango.
Fiend is not so scary. Papa Shango used to scare me, man, when I was little. I was scared of Papa Shango. Did that shit to the Ultimate Warrior. I was like, man, I hope he doesn't do that shit to me. Make me like, I don't know. What was that ooze?
I don't think Kane.
Didn't he make Warrior puke green? He put a curse on Warrior,
Yeah, he did.
man. He made Warrior puke green. Yeah. And I've only seen that when I was like 5 or 6, and I still remember because I was like, Papa Shango really fucked Ultimate Warrior up, man. Like, he fucking put a curse on him. And, you know, at that point, I didn't really know what a curse was. And I was like, who is this voodoo guy? Papa Shango. The Fiend, though, not too good. Not too good. Jason Pete has a question for us. I had a question for John, and he, like, turned it around. And now I forget what the question even was, so I'm just going to move on. What was the question I asked you, John? You can answer it? Something about Bray Wyatt?
Oh, I forget. Some about Bray Wyatt, but I forget. It's not important.
Well, thanks. I thought it was important because I asked it to you, but whatever. Fucking John.
Debbie's more important.
Jason P wants to know, why do they still try to put Roman Reigns over? Legit question. Last time I watched, he got booed next to The Rock. Yeah. When he won the Rumble, and Rock was like, "You like this guy?" And people were like, "Boo, we hate this guy." And he's like, "Oh, I thought maybe if I said I liked him that you would like him." And they're like, "No, we hate him now. And now because you're associated with him, we hate you too, Rock." And he's like, "Oh, but I'm The Rock." And they're like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have fucking hung out with Roman Reigns. Now you're a dick."
If you find like there's like a backstage promo from like WWE did like after the show of like Rock and Roman, and The Rock is like, he's trying to like be cool and like have a good time. He's clearly pissed off.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah, he's clearly like taken aback and like angry and like wants to get through as quickly as possible.
He was set up.
Yeah.
He didn't realize that he was set up, but he was set up. They should have known that that was going to happen. He shouldn't have been put in that position. And I'm sure that's exactly what he was thinking.
Yeah.
Vince, you shouldn't have put me in that position, you jabroni, you piece of monkey trash.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dwayne. I'm sure like Rock makes like Vince like totally like cower, you know, Vince is all like that. "Oh, I'm sorry, Rock, I'm sorry." Shut up, you monkey.
Shut up. The Rock's never going to come back here, Vince.
"Oh no, come on, pal. I'm gonna start crying now,
Get
pal.
booted out of the building. You put me with my jabroni cousin trying to put him over. The Rock will never, ever come back."
That's why I'm using quote Chris Jericho.
That's right. Stealing lines now, Vince.
What are you gonna do, man?
You motherfucker. Oh, boy. Johnny,
Be a fly on the
what
wall.
a pay-per-view. TLC. WWE TLC. A 7 on 10 from Big Daddy Dave. A 6 on 10 from Unky B. And Johnny, what did you give it again? Did you even get a number? Whoa, our graphics just changed. Huh?
I didn't get to give a number, actually, but I'm actually going to give it an 8 on 10.
Oh.
Whoa.
Ocho.
Do you remember what you gave the last AEW pay-per-view, Full Gear? I think
it was an 8 as well.
Yeah, I think I gave it an 8. So you think this was better?
I think it was on par.
Really?
I just named like 2 matches, and like one of them I think is like match of the year like candidate, so I definitely thought it was definitely on par.
Match of the year candidate, like better than match of the year WWE or match of the year in general?
Well, for me, like I'd have to go back and watch like all these match of the year candidates, but it's up there. The Kevin Owens, Roman Reigns. Like I'd have to watch it with the other matches again, but I would definitely say it's among the best matches right now.
It was certainly a good match. It was certainly the best match of WWE TLC 2020. Was it the best match of 2020? I don't know. I thought we've had some good matches. That Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page match was pretty goddamn good in AEW. Even the Boneyard match was pretty cool at WrestleMania, brother. I'd put that over this one. Boneyard.
Again, I'd have to watch them all over again. I mean, it's different when you watch a movie match and you have to compare it to like a TLC match and then compare it to a tag match.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to say what's the best, you know? You'd have to rewatch it.
Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tell you what I think, all right? I'm not going to rewatch everything. I'm not doing that, John. I refuse. Okay? I'm not going to watch every single match over and over again. I mean, what? You're going to watch all the good matches this year and trying to figure out what the best one was? Why would you do that? It's too much effort. Too much effort.
Well, this is our end of the year right now, so I guess we won't be able to say. I mean, this is it. We're done for the year. You and me, like, we're not on for the rest of the year.
Oh my God, you're right. Is this our last show of the year? What's the date today? The 20th? Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, because we're not gonna be on Friday night because it's Christmas.
And then the next one's New Year's.
And then the next show we'll be on the 1st of January. We'll be back but it'll be 2021 when we speak to you again, right?
That's right.
We're going to be back on the 1st of January, though, the Friday night, 10 p.m. for Wrestling Uncensored, right? Like, we'll be back then. We're just taking 1 week off. We're actually just taking a few days off. Yeah, we're taking a week off from shows because it's Christmas week. Mm-hmm. And we'd be on Christmas night and Christmas Eve for Ringside Report, so we're just not going to do that. And we'll be back with you for a live edition of Ringside Report MMA, a special year-end edition. This won't be the last time I'll be speaking to you in 2020 because on the 30th of December, Freddie, AJ, and I will be here talking MMA, recapping everything that happened in 2020 in the UFC and beyond, everything in the world of mixed martial arts, and we'll talk about whatever the hell else is going on in the UFC, if anything's going on. I think we're just going to party, pop some champagne, a little bit of the bubbly. It's going to be our New Year's Eve edition. I already promised guests Eve and Eve 6 on our New Year's Eve edition.
Eve like YVES? Or no, Eve like
Eve the rapper.
Oh.
And also the band Eve 6.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have a better chance of getting Eve 6 than Eve, but we'll see. Fingers crossed we'll have Eve 6, and they'll play their hit, Inside Out. You want to sing it with me as we leave?
I can't remember.
Don't worry. We don't have to sing it. John, New Year's Eve, December 30th, we will be back for Ringside Report MMA, 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve.
Eve of Destruction.
December 30th, Wednesday, December 30th, a special Ringside Report end of year spectacular. Why don't you come on the show, John? It'll be a party. We're doing a party show.
Depends. I didn't really watch a lot of the UFC last night. I think I only watched Aldo's fight, and I watched the main event.
It doesn't matter. We're not going to talk to you about the UFC. We're going to talk to you about the year in AJ.
The year in AJ, wow.
The year in AJ? How was the year in AJ?
I mean, he's the best guy, so, I mean, it was great. Every year is great. Every year is better with that guy. What a joy. What a treat. We love him. Right?
We'll see then. I guess. But in the meantime, I guess Happy New Year's to everybody. And if I don't see you, Happy New Year.
But also Merry Christmas, because Christmas is next, John. Don't forget Christmas. Merry Christmas to everybody. We love you big time. Thank you to everybody for supporting the channel. Thank you to Jason Pete, Antoinette, Patrick C. Hamilton. You guys were all great friends this year. We love you big time. We love everybody watching the show and supporting the show. Do not forget to become a member of the YouTube channel. Become a member right now. Subscribe to the channel as well. Don't forget to like this video. And when you subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you get notifications every time that we are on. RingsideReport.net is our online home. If you missed any shows, you can go check them out in podcast version and in video form over at RingsideReport.net. Follow Johnny North on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. Follow me on all the things at Dave Simon MMA. Follow this man on the streets, baby.
And OnlyFans.
Follow his OnlyFans.
He also has an Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
He's got an Instagram, but he has not posted
Not
yet.
yet, no.
So it's not really an active Instagram.
No.
but OnlyFans is where you can find us. Where you can find us all. Thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas to everybody celebrating Christmas this week. And Johnny North, Santa Claus is coming to town, baby. He's coming to your town.
So happy Festivus.
Happy Festivus for the rest of us. And I
Get out your
we
aluminum
do our airing of grievances right now.
Well, let's do.
Go ahead, John.
Let's do some feats of strength first. Come over here.
Well, you
John,
guys are together.
Wrestle me.
You guys are together. You
Come
can
over
do the
here and
feats of
wrestle your
strength.
brother.
I think you could take him, Georgie. I always love that line right at the end, like you can hear Estelle going,
Yeah.
I think you could take him, Georgie.
Yeah, John, you want to
fight your father.
You want to air grievances? I know there was a guy on Twitter today who was saying things, saying I was mean to you.
Oh.
You want to air grievances?
Yeah, someone did air their grievances, not me, but someone else aired their own grievances to you apparently. I forget what the tweet was exactly, but they were mad at you.
I can pull it up even. Hold on.
Oh.
This is a guy, I am D. Lloyd. He goes, wow, on the last Uncensored, Dave, that was very #douchebaggery of you. Put down your man at North Genesis about you spending time with your fam on New Year's and putting him down because he may not have anyone to spend it with. Very low, even for you, Dave. #apologize.
Oh.
Which, made me feel a little bad. I felt... Wait, I think I lost Johnny now. Oh.
I can hear you.
Yeah. I'm just trying to bring you back. Here we go. There he is. All right.
We're back to old school format.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, that guy was very unhappy with me, and I had to explain to him. I was like, look, Johnny, you got to understand the context of what was going on. Johnny was trying to guilt me into doing a show on New Year's Eve.
And Christmas.
And Christmas. Yeah. And Christmas Eve. And I was
day.
Christmas Day. Well, I don't know. You wanted me to do a show New Year's Eve and Christmas Day. And I was like, John.
Yeah.
Can I please...
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, there you go. Can I please spend some time with my family? Can I please just take a break? Like, you already know I have a full-time job in addition to all the shows that we do. This show doesn't pay the bills. I have a real job that pays the bills, you know? There's a little bit extra scratch for the show, and that's very nice, so we love it, and maybe one day this job will be a full-time job. But, like, I'm a pretty busy guy. I have a lot of things that I'm doing all the time, and I wouldn't mind 1 week off of shows, especially when the UFC doesn't have any fights for like 3 weeks. Why am I doing an MMA show when there's zero going on in MMA? Everybody's just with their families. And it's Christmas Day. Like, I don't know if anybody really wants to watch us talk about pro wrestling on Christmas Day. Maybe there'll be a couple. I don't know. So I was like, look, John, I don't know if you have plans or not, but I would like to spend some time with my family. And you're like, well, I got nothing to do. I'd be watching you guys. I was like, well, that's too bad, John. I wasn't putting you down for not having, plans. It's up to you. You can do whatever you want. But this guy was like, oh, you're putting John down because he's not with anybody. Very, very low, even for you, Dave, which I thought was a nice touch. But this guy's usually a nice guy and everything. And then Johnny's like, you started early with an airing of grievances emoji. And then I go, Johnny was trying to make me feel bad for taking a night off. He wanted me to work on New Year's. He wasn't going to do a show, just me. Like, he wasn't going to do the show.
Oh.
He just wanted me to do extra work, and he just wanted to torture me in doing
Christmas
so.
Day, we would have done the show together.
Yeah, but you were, at the time, you were pushing me to do a New Year's Eve show with Freddie and AJ. And I was like, I said, we've got women that probably want to kiss us at New Year's. I don't know if you've got a woman that wants to do that to you, but Freddie and AJ and I are a little indisposed New Year's Eve, baby. Jesus. And then I'm like, I'm not apologizing to Johnny. Johnny knows I love him. And then D. Lloyd responded. He's like, LOL, you better love him.
You better love him.
# second chances. And I go,
you got a second chance. Nice.
And I go, of course, Johnny is one of my closest friends. I tell him I love him on the show. Try getting him to say it back. And then Johnny goes, that's a little kinky. I don't swing that way. Woo. In a Michael Scott emoji. I mean, I could show you everything that's going on. Johnny's emojis. Johnny's responses to my tweets.
Johnny GIFs.
And then Rob Clues goes, heartless. And I respond with a beautiful Eric Rowan, Daniel Bryan going, exactly. Because Johnny, now let me demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about. Johnny, you know that I love you, right?
Sometimes.
I love you, big man. Hey, Johnny, I love you, dude. You're a good buddy of mine.
I appreciate that.
You're a great friend.
I appreciate that.
You're a great friend. You're a good man. I like you a lot.
These
I
are
love
words
you
you're
too, John.
speaking.
My brother loves you.
These are words you guys are speaking.
They're sincere.
We feel like
Are they?
We feel like you're a...
Oh!
What? What do you mean?
You doubt our sincerity? You cast aspersions on our sincerity, sir?
Do you think I do this
At
show?
this time of year?
Do you think I do this show because I make millions of dollars doing this show? Or do you think I do this show because I like talking wrestling with you once a week?
Oh, I think you like and love. It's two different things. Like
Oh,
you're
okay.
getting confused. I think.
You know, I bought Christmas presents for my family. You, Fred, and AJ.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, I saw the present.
Okay, but
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet, right? You saw it.
You're gonna like it, John.
You're gonna like it. Like, I don't think you understand. I get things for immediate family and my closest and dearest friends, who I happen to do weekly shows with, because I choose to do shows with you guys because you guys are my best friends and my favorite people to talk about my favorite subjects with. There's nobody I'd rather talk pro wrestling with than you. Every week. And I think you're a great guy. Oh, yeah, well, you too. Well, that's why you're here, too. You know.
I get it.
But, I will give all the love and praise to Johnny. Still waiting for some. Still waiting for it back. Never.
I'll take a sip.
Johnny never. Yeah, we'll take a sip. We'll wait, John.
Well, I've said I appreciate you guys, and like I wouldn't want to do another show with anyone else except you guys. So.
Appreciate.
Or AJ After Dark. You've done shows without me, John. With AJ.
Well, wrestling shows. I mean, the AJ shows are just completely different. That's like us just,
Bring him
doing
back.
whatever we want kind of thing.
Bring him back. Bring him back. I will let you and AJ come into the studio and do your own show. I need to see that. I need to see more. When this pandemic is over.
As long as you disinfect everything.
Yes, when the pandemic is over, I'm opening up the studio. I'm bringing you in. I'm bringing AJ in. And you guys are doing your own show. And I'm just going to sit back and watch the money come in, baby.
I still like the idea of me and John watching like a movie John hasn't seen before and like discussing it.
I also like the idea of you versus Fred political combat.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Political combat conversations.
It could be fun.
I don't
You
even
get a
want
lot
to
of
be
good
involved.
spin-off shows here. It sounds like it's good.
There's a lot of spin-off shows. Fred's Conspiracy Hour, like that was a show that was going to happen. Before the pandemic, pandemic hit, Fred was going to do a Fred conspiracy show on the Ringside Report Network, but then we realized we'd probably get kicked off YouTube if that happened, so we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to go there. But at some point, there's going to be like a Fred conspiracy special that we'll try and slip on. Okay, we got big plans.
Sounds interesting.
A lot of spin-offs,
Wow.
John.
Something to look forward to next year. That's good.
Always specials, okay? And you guys are going to want to tune into the show on Wednesday, December 30th, our next show here on the Ringside Report Network. It's going to be a Ringside Report, New Year's Eve, year in review, spectacular. New Year's Eve, featuring Eve 6, and a guy named Eve.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure there's like 20 that live on this block alone.
We'll find it.
Yeah.
We'll find it. Funny story. I knew a guy who had two friends, right? They're a gay couple, Adam and Eve. So I go, hey, I thought it was Adam and Steve, not Adam and Eve. Good one. All right, that's it. Show's over. I'm ending on that one. All right, John. John didn't like it. John, are you frozen? Are you still there?
No, I'm still here. I heard it. I didn't think it was funny, but teach their own. Again, happy holidays, happy New Year. See you next year.
Teach their own. Love you, Johnny.
Again, appreciate it.
You're a good man. Yeah. All right. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate you. Arrange that with Discord. Call in. What? What the hell is going on?
Trying to get new guests?
I don't know. The Ringside Report Network team, like the production staff, is soliciting calls for the show on December 30th that we might be able to arrange with Discord. First of all, I don't know what Discord is. I didn't realize we were taking calls. Am I not the lead producer and host of this show? How come the production... I guess I'm not really in charge of the show, you know? Like, people think I'm in charge, but the production team above me, they actually make the decision. So we might be taking calls, apparently, on December 30th for our Ringside Report Year-End Spectacular, which is cool. We might be taking calls. So if you want to call in, we might be able to do that. Oh, Jason said, let us call in for the last show of the year. Okay. And then he replied to Jason saying, call in. We might be able to arrange that with Discord. I see.
I'll have to check in with
There's like things going on in the chat that I'm confused about. But we might have like a number for you to call to talk to us on the last show of the year. Because I'm telling you, it's not going to be business as usual. It's going to be like a party show. It's going to be a New Year's Eve party. Before New Year's Eve, I'm going to drink champagne, I think, during the show.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Little bit of the bubbly. All right? All right. Merry Christmas. We love you. This has been our WWE TLC post show. Mwah!